Good afternoon, everybody. It's March 4th, 2025, and it's overcast. It was sunny this morning, and it was ironic. Like, they actually predicted when it would get cloudy, and as they predicted when it was going to get cloudy, I saw those planes overhead just spraying the sky. So it was easy to predict, fake prediction, like the predictive policing, they think they're psychic. Meanwhile, they're all setting it up. It's sort of like those mass unalivers and stuff like that. Well, it's easy to predict the weather when you're controlling it, right? But I received an email from a targeted female, and she said, I thought you might be interested in this. She found it on X. Now, I have to tell you, I'm only on X for my cat rescue, and if I get on there once or twice a week, that's it. I don't even read anything. So I just don't have time to spend this much time on social media. But I am grateful for anybody that sends me information from there if you're on there a lot. And basically what it was is my favorite bureau of instigation. And for all you newcomers, welcome. My name is Lorraine. I moved from Manalapan, New Jersey, 52 Sutton Drive, a home that I lived in for 30 years as original owner, and I became harassed and stalked and my property vandalized to a tune of $300,000. More than $4,000 of items stolen, another $4,000 of cash stolen. One of the people that stole money from me was Jonathan, also known as Joe Plumber, who was working at my house. Evidently, he claims to be a relative of that cop who was stalking me at the bagel store and who was one of the first officers to show up when my house was broken into to tell me that he used to be a locksmith before he became a police officer and that my house was not broken into. So they're related. Isn't that amazing? I wonder if they shared. I wonder if they shared information while Joe Plumber was painting and redoing my floors that were vandalized. I wonder if they shared information. Maybe they split the profit of what was stolen from my home, including artwork, stuff that belonged to my daughter. Yeah, so we're just going to expose one criminal at a time. So, yes, so welcome newcomers. I moved to rural Kentucky, Jackson County. I moved here knowing no one. And as soon as I moved here, my neighbors, the ski mask man and the big mouth Mary, quite contrary, who does not have a garden that grows, were harassing me from the time I got here. Well, at least the husband was. I actually never met her until, I guess, a year later. I had been living here a year. And the first time I ever met her, I had no idea what she looked like or anything because, they're so neighborly that they stop in to welcome you to the neighborhood. They're so neighborly. It took her a whole year to trespass my property and post no trespassing signs on my legally surveyed property. It's the first time I'm meeting her, right? So neighborly. So anyway, so when I moved here, I knew no one. So how could you move somewhere knowing no one and then have everybody harassing you, hating on you, slandering you? It's carefully orchestrated, carefully organized. They flood the community when you arrive. People you have never met before, right? But they're slandering you, and these stupid people believe everything that they hear. So it doesn't, I guarantee that they didn't tell the people that I worked 4 jobs at one time to support my daughter because my ex-husband was a deadbeat dad. I guess they never told the neighbors that I worked through all of that to get my undergraduate and graduate degree. Going all through that, yeah, and performing volunteer work, feeding the homeless, all the things that I did, taking care of homeless children in New York City. Yeah, all of that, all those things. And a feral cat colony that I cared for 16 years. The only licensed, registered cat colony probably in the entire state of New Jersey. But no, those are not, they don't tell anybody about all the wonderful things you do because, of course, anything, if they were to start telling people about all the wonderful things that you did because they're all malignant narcissists, psychopaths, and addicts, that would really piss them off even more than they already are. So anyway, so the story is, my favorite Bureau of Investigation, you know, it reminds me of, you know that expression, if you can't beat them, join them? Well, their new expression is, if you can't beat them, hire them as informants. Yeah, they're hiring they're hiring journalists and lawyers as informants. Isn't that amazing? So, all you lawyers out there, all you corrupt friggin' lawyers out there, go contact my favorite Bureau of Investigation, also known as the FBI. Maybe you too can be a paid informant. But that's not the purpose of this video, even. I just wanted to say that the gang stalkers, the criminals that keep entering my property, at the entrance of my property, right here, when you walk into my house, they have sprayed something vile, like a vile, odorous, disgusting odor, because they know that my property is listed for sale, and they're doing everything inhumanly possible to make it repulsive to anybody. And that goes for burning, scorching, possibly with a blowtorch, a propane torch, a drone, whatever it is that they're doing, they are burning up all the grass. And it's not wet outside. We haven't had rain in a while. Even with all that snow and all that rain that we had, it dries up pretty fast because, you know, when the property is sloped, right, it goes down the mountain. It's called gravity. We've discussed the gravity situation. We discussed how gravity, the water flows downward and it flows into the county the creek, and then the rest of the property gets bone dry. Yeah, that's what happens. So what they're doing is they're causing a fire condition. They're causing an environmental condition by scorching my grass. And I'm placing that on the record in case anything should happen here on my property. So now I was looking for this. Yeah, so the FBI, you know, if you can't beat them, hire them as informants. But that's not the first time they've done that, right? You know, the eBay stalker case where the retired coppers moved to the security department of eBay, and they started stalking this couple in Massachusetts. And we're just going to fast forward. They did all the disgusting things in the gang-stalking playbook. You can go listen to Michael Miller's video today. It's the Gang-stalking playbook by Dr. Ronnie Kildee. He rattled off all the stupid perp tricks they do to ruin your life. So these cops, retired cops in the eBay security department, were doing this to a couple in Massachusetts. Well, we'll get a fast forward. They were fortunate enough to get it aired on local TV, on the news, and get the FBI to actually testify on their behalf. And, you know, it's a closed case now, and I do have the lawsuit, but I was told that if I read from it, that it would be a bad thing for me. So I'm just reading from my brain, you know. Remember, you know, we're all smart people here. This is what I remember after having read the lawsuit that I have that was given to me by Helena Chorba, may she rest in peace, targeted civil engineer who contributed so much to the targeting community about through-the-wall radar, etc. But she provided it to me. And it's now closed. You can't find it on the internet. You can find little things. You can find the news reporting about it, but you can't find the actual lawsuit or what the judge's comments were. So basically, when these idiots testified before the judge, one of the idiots, one of the cops, one of the retired security guys, it went to prison, by the way. So that you can get these guys to prison. Don't think that it can't ever happen. You never know when it's going to happen to one of your perpetrators is going to be in prison and performing community service and restitution. You never know who it's going to be. So anyway, they both end up in prison. But before they get to prison, they testify. And one of the idiots had the audacity before the judge to say, listen carefully, boys and girls, men and women. I was only doing what I was taught by the FBI. long pause. I was only doing what I was taught by my favorite Bureau of Instigation. That's what they were doing. That was his that was his defensive statement. In defense of himself, he was saying that he was only doing what he was taught by them. Meanwhile, this really stellar testimony by an FBI agent on behalf of the couple. Amazing. I wish I could read it to you. It's absolutely, if you're listening to this, Mr. FBI agent, and you're on the right side of history, please contact me. I need you to testify on my behalf, because I've got a story for you. Stories after stories after stories. Yes, I too had the playbook played against me here in Jackson County, Kentucky, with skinned animals stuffed in my mailbox. Yes. So, Mr. FBI guy, the one who testified on behalf of the couple in Massachusetts, no, it's not. I don't remember your name. But if you're still there, if you're one of the good guys, I want you to testify on my behalf. Okay? So now we're going to the Gang-stalker survival and understanding the truth. The secret hidden enemies, darkness versus light. The targeted individual's spiritual survival guide, an explanation to gang stalking in the entire world situation. Now, let me just explain that I did a video on this a couple of years ago, and I can't find it on my channel because back in those days I wasn't that savvy. I didn't have hashtags. I didn't put the dates down. I didn't even have my name on it. I can't locate it. I know I did a recording on this, but I can't locate it. And what's so interesting about this particular guide, which is 190 pages long, it was written by, at the time, he was 14 years old. While he's writing it, he turns 15, 16, 17, and when he completed it, he was 18 years old. It is absolutely remarkable, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. If you want this, you'll have to email me privately, alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. It's 190 pages. This is what it looks like, and this is what you'll have to ask me for. Just ask me for the 18-year-old kids gang stalking guide. Here it is. Now, I have to tell you, after this, I did email this guy just to make sure he was okay, that he was still around. I never heard back. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm just going to scroll down so you can see. This is him meditating, and he's in Florida, one of the gang stalking capitals of the USA, and this is his information. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to show you. I don't know if it's still valid. I don't even know when this was published. This was actually given to me by somebody on Quora, and she said, you have to read this. So I read some of it on my channel, and I just can't find it, so I'm going to start over again, okay? So this is it. This is the information. So what he's saying is, clarification here. You should know that a great book has already been written on how to defend yourself against energy attacks and gang stalkers and much more. It's a great book, and it's called The Targeted Individual Handbook. And I think he's talking about the one with Ronnie Kildee that was read, or at least partially read, by Michael Miller on his channel today. So I'm going to show you this as well. I don't think you can find any of this anymore. I tried looking for the book on zlib.org, state-sponsored terror campaign, The Hidden Evil. That's Mark Rich. I have, I think, 5 or 6 videos reading different chapters on the Mark M. Rich, The Hidden Evil. So you can find that on my channel. So here you go. Yeah, the Z library, I couldn't find anything there. And again, I do not know how old this paper is. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down, because here he is just mentioning, he says, why don't I rely on evidence and proof so much anymore? He said, because if you show someone video proof, they will say it's CGL. If you show somebody picture proof, they will say it's Photoshop, which I don't know how to even use. If you show someone documented proof, they will say you made it up. If you show someone an absolutely huge pile, mountain of undeniable proof and evidence that proves an outrageous theory to beyond true, beyond the shadow of a doubt, they will just say it's fake anyway. This phenomenon in sleepers, the willfully unawakened, ignorant people, is called cognitive dissonance. And so it doesn't matter if we give you evidence, because you'll just deny it anyway. So you see, this isn't about proof. You will have to use your own discernment and intuition as you read and see what your heart tells you. That is the only way to be 100% sure of truly anything. Your intuition and heart is your compass, your GPS, your ultimate electromagnetic, spiritual, super discernment tool. As a side note, I've actually noticed this before I discovered the word cognitive dissonance, and I called this willful ignorance, denial, glitching, and I was called a fool for making this word up, and people thought I was stupid. Nowadays, it's used all the time during this plandemic. Okay, so this can't be that old, although I'm not very mad, because it's a good sign. People are waking up. Glitching. Okay, now I'm just going to show you this. I haven't clicked on these links. I pull this up again. I'm cleaning out my hard drive, and I was looking for this document. I found it finally, and here. I haven't clicked on any of these. Okay, so evidently he took a deep dive into spirituality, the 50 universal laws of attraction. Here, look. Oh, here's more. Here. MK Ultra, directed energy weapons. So he's giving a lot of links here. Now again, I don't know how many of these are broken links. Okay, so he's writing Havana Syndrome here. So this book can't be too old, and he completed it at the age of 18. Miraculous. Psychic powers are real, and the CIA is aware. Paranormal. Yes, this is interesting. Yes, I'll repeat this. The CIA actually did a law of attraction experiment in which they literally stopped a goat's heart and killed it with nothing but the power of the law of attraction. And you can get it through this guy for money. He put a link here. He knows a lot about it, but he's a real great and legitimate guy, and you can find the files yourself, but I had no luck personally. They really got the science of it. Awesome. They're all declassified CIA documents. And really long time ago, about 2 years ago, I remember doing a little searching on the U.S. government website and found a document that stated something along the lines of human, psychic, and paranormal capabilities do and have always existed. But no matter how hard I try, I was never able to find it again. So I'm going to just scroll down so we get to the heart of this document. So he's got a page here about moving documents with your mind. You hear this? Moving objects with your mind. So let's begin. Gang-stalkers. State-sponsored terror campaign. Basics of directed energy weapons. Now, I may not go all through this portion because I just posted something on the channel about directed energy weapons and it's coming out of your ears and eyes. So I'm going to fast forward on the directed energy weapons, okay? And then he's talking about the CIA Voice of God weapon, a Holosonic Research Labs, and the American Technology Corporation both have versions of directed sound, which can allow a single person to hear a message that others around them don't hear. And DARPA appears to be working on its own sonic projector. And intriguingly, strategy page reports that troops are using the long-range acoustic device as a modified Voice of God weapon. So let me just scroll up here. He said, and even if you did tell anybody, and even if you did provide proof, material proof, you'd just be called psychotic loon and get isolated for the rest of your life as you slowly lose your sanity and go insane, all the while enduring this unimaginable torment. So most people just unalive themselves at that time. And so after you figure out the truth, and nobody believes you and calls you crazy, then that's when you actually go crazy, and thus affirming the common belief that all conspiracy researchers and targeted individuals are just crazy tinfoil hat wearing schizos. It's truly the perfect crime. Do I believe this is possible and or real? Absolutely. And if anyone doubts that America can't or won't do such a thing, then you're an absolute fool. Just look at America's entire history. And I'm not talking about the kind that they teach you in school. The US GOV will do absolutely anything in their power to gain full and total control of not only the country, but over the entire world. And anyone who doubts that this is an absolute fool, again, if they can use it to control you, they will use it to control you, period. Well, let me show you this. This is oh my goodness. Look at these goons. Okay, so gang stalkers are just about always used in conjunction with energy weapons. I will first give you a description from the well-written document State-Sponsored Terrorism Campaign, The Hidden Evil. I will refer to the document as The Hidden Evil for simplicity's sake. Now, mind you, I've got all this on my channel. Gang stalkers are usually referred to as perps, short for perpetrators, as well as glowies. Glowy. There's nothing glowing about my neighbors. There's nothing glowing, except when they shine lights, then they glow, right? I will continue to refer to them as gang stalkers and perpetrators. Now, I will give you the Hidden Evils document description of gang stalkers, and then I'll continue with mine. The Hidden Evil. Organized stalking is a well-organized occult form of covert harassment used against an individual. It is done by large groups of people who systematically and repeatedly harass individuals. The people who participate, wait, my mouse just moved. The people who participate, one second, I've got a low battery light here. I got to plug in here. One second, guys. Okay. The people who participate are usually under the impression that they need to keep an eye on a targeted person or drive them out of town for wrongdoings. It often encompasses the use of directed energy weapons, such as microwave harassment. This can be done for hire, organized harassment service. These groups operate throughout North America and Europe. And the author of this book, quick note, they actually operate everywhere that is needed of them and exhibit cult, C-U-L-T, like characteristics. And yes, please read on my community post and my Substack the article on occult stalking. They usually have local numbers ranging in the hundreds. This has also been called cause stalking, gang stalking, community-based harassment, organized vigilante stalking, vengeance stalking, terrorist stalking, revenge stalking, covert action, state-sponsored harassment, microwave harassment, microwave mind control, etc. And all of these labels explain the same basic phenomenon. So when I refer to this type of state-sponsored harassment throughout this document, I will use these names interchangeably. Organized vigilante stalking is an occult form of terrorism and mind control used against an individual. It is a malicious attempt to reduce the quality of the person's life so they will have a nervous breakdown, become incarcerated, institutionalized, experience constant mental, emotional, or physical pain, become homeless, commit suicide. It is done using well-orchestrated accusations, lies, rumors, bogus investigations, setups, framings, intimidation, overt and covert threats, vandalism, theft, sabotage, torture, humiliation, emotional terror, dues, and general harassment. It is a ganging up by members of the community who follow an organizer and participate in a systemic and ritualistic persecution of an individual. And remember, I moved here knowing no one. I live on 64 acres of land. There is no one that lives behind me. No one. There's nobody that lives directly across the street from me. The only neighbors that live next to me are the Ski Mask Man, which is 4 acres down the block, and Jezebel, diagonally across, which is, I don't know, a 3-minute walk. That's it. So when I moved here, I knew nobody. But meanwhile, I became harassed as soon as I got here. Bullied, tormenting, torture. 28 of my rescue cats have disappeared, magically become ill, sick, holes burned in them. Property scorched, vandalized. My 3 greenhouses torn down. Plants. All of my figs were stolen last year. Strawberries the year before. Potatoes the year before that. It is a ganging up by members of the community who follow an organizer and participate in a systemic and ritualistic persecution of an individual. Organized stalking is a destructive criminal program. You hear that? It's a criminal program built on deception that exists to serve the intentions of a few who are aware of its true agenda. And right here in Jackson County, Kentucky, they have been harassing me since the day I moved here about my property. If you want it so badly, buy it. If you wanted it so badly back in 2019, you should have bought it back then. It was a hell of a lot less expensive then. You could have bought it. You knew it would become vacant. You knew the former owner was in the hospital. You knew he was going to pass away. You could have bought it. But no, you probably wanted to set it up as your very lucrative gang stalking business. That's what you did. You were going to make more money harassing me, stealing from me, tormenting me, than it would if you purchased the property for yourself and think that you're going to get it for free. Well, that ain't ever going to happen, honeys, down the block. Because like I said, all the slander, all the little whispers behind the scenes with your little county lawyer and the sheriff's department and everything, if my house doesn't sell this year, there will be a lawsuit against all of you guys. Every one of you. And I've got a list. I'm checking it twice because we all know who's been naughty and not nice. Gang stalkers, simply put, are a group of people hired. They're hired by the deep state or CIA or some other deeply dark, evil, and secretive power club. Oh, you know who he's talking about. The Three Masons. The Tree Masons. Somebody said, it's the Tree Masons. The Three Masons, you know, because they marked their little sigil at the county creek here when Judge Gabbard poured that slop mess of concrete. They drew a sigil in there. Yes, I've got the sigil online. You can see it there. They tell you who they are. You don't have to guess about this stuff. They're narcissists. They have to take credit for their damage by leaving their signatures behind. You just have to be smart enough to find what the signature is and then exploit it. Speak out about it. Gang stalkers are a group of people hired by the deep state CIA or some other dark, evil, and secretive power club in order to stalk, record, and sabotage the entire life of some specifically selected people, person, or group. Although usually not the CIA, but some other group lower on the dark pyramidal power structure, mainly terrorism carried out by a federal agency, which is also the origin, or carried out by a federal agency on behalf of a corporation, an individual, or a group who has connections. Okay, so I'm going to place it in the context of me. So a federal agency could be my favorite Bureau of Investigation, which in my case, I believe it is my favorite bureau in New Jersey because they hung up on me. What kind of an unprofessional group of people hang up on somebody calling to report corruption of your local law enforcement department? Who does such a thing? And then, of course, you know, the local FBI here, they never returned my call after almost 6 years of being here. There's no investigation on any of the criminal neighbors. So I believe, in my case, it's my favorite Bureau of Investigation, carried out on behalf of whom? Okay, it could be an individual, so it could be any one of those criminal lawyers back in New Jersey. It could be the feral cat cartel because, you know, they don't have to pay for anything. Do you know who funds them? Your donations. You who think that feral cat cartel actually trap, neuters, spays, and does a good thing for the environment, you have been duped. So all of your donations are going to gang stalking. That's right. Your donations are going to that and to pay their employees who are overpaid with benefits, who can't stand their guts either, but they're there because it's a paycheck. But they also get grants. You know, the multi-million-dollar feral cat cartel receives grants, just the way your local government will apply for a grant for something. They apply for grants too. So it's not coming out of their pockets. No, no, no. In fact, it could be that person, or it could be multiple people. A corporation? I was not ever affiliated with any corporation. I have no idea. I have no idea. But a group with connections? Oh, absolutely. Celebrities, they've got a lot of connections. In fact, they've got connections all over the place. They've got connections with other connections with law enforcement, because when they're have a concert and stuff, they need bodyguards and stuff. They need private security people. They need to protect their homes. They've got those kind of connections out of their kazoo, just like a politician would. So yeah, they've got connections. And some of them actually they get off on playing with other people's lives because they get bored. They get very bored. That's why they prey on regular people like me. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, for all those years that I helped them with astrology and stuff, I know I never once got paid. Just for anybody out there thinking that, wow, she must have made so much money with those celebrities, like with the astrology and stuff. No. No, they never paid me. Never. Just for the record. So, yeah, so I don't know. Please leave a comment down below how you feel some federal agency connected to a corporation, individual, or group with connections placed you on the list. They work to influence a person's life, whether it be through the physical world or with subliminal intimidation. The cyber world with online tracking devices and tools. All those trolls that leave all those stupid comments in the comments section. The electromagnetic world using directed energy weapons, and the spiritual world using magic rituals and spells, jinns and demons, psychic attacks, and dream infiltration. And I just need to add this because I've not remembered to add this into my testimony, in that years ago, when I was a practicing astrologer, full-time, and Facebook was a good place to be, there I had a cyber stalker. I didn't know what it was at the time, but the name was Venus Aries. And I had to block that person. But they kept creating new Venus Aries profiles. And right now, I think I've got a dozen or more Venus Aries people blocked. But this was somebody that was harassing me, stalking me. And then there was another woman there, I'm not remembering her name. She actually stole the chart that I created, with colors and stuff like that. And she handed it over to a well-known chart creator program that sells the programs, and they're using the chart that I created when they sell their software program. That's right, I never got credit for it, though. Organized vigilante stalking is an enterprise run by field leaders who rally groups which contain hundreds of people to repeatedly harass individuals with the intent to drive them to suicide, which is according to the book The Hidden Evil. Now, I ran into one of those creatures today wearing the black SUV with the license plate that starts with 732, which is the area code for New Jersey, my former residence, 732. Yeah. So, a person who is being gang-stalked or targeted is called a TI, for targeted individual. I call the ones who directed the gang-stalkers directors. So some people call them handlers. He's calling them the directors. So let me just show you what he writes here. Sending threatening messages to the TI. Oh yeah, I've got lots of those from Scarlet Marks down the block. Don't worry, I can mention her name because all of her text messages are saved and online. Scarlet Marks. Yeah, that's already been reported. Sending threatening messages to the TI. walking by the TI while looking directly at the TI's eyes and also aggressively clicking a pen. I've never experienced that. I live too far away from people. Even when people are driving by, I'm not close enough to ever hear like a clicking of a pin or something like that. Littering, graffiti on a TI's home, aggressively staring at the TI. I've experienced both of those things. Purposely bumping into you or knocking your stuff over. Well, they do that here on the property. They knock things over. Driving by the TI and honking the horn or quickly slamming on the brakes for no reason. Yes, check mark. Knocking on the TI's door, that has happened. Cause the TI to get ads on porn, LGBT or transgender, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, fast food. I don't know. I don't think I get anything like that. Ads in order to convince him to buy antidepressant pills. Well, those ads are everywhere. I don't take pills. I don't even take an aspirin. Number 2, directed energy attacks, the worst and most terrible one. Sending directed energy to the TI's body and brain in order to cause all sorts of health problems. Oh, and on that note, I received a message on Quora after one of my posts, and this person got their body scanned. And something 9 millimeters was in the liver. It was an object, a copper object. And this individual said that a lot of targeted people will have a copper 9 millimeter object in their liver or kidney placed by these criminals to target the person, and that everybody needs to get a body scan. They also keep the TI awake to cause him or her to stay up for many days at a time. They can do this by sending energy to the heart in order to cause it to speed up and keep you awake. Sending directed energy to the TI's penis in order to make him ejaculate in his sleep. Sending directed energy, remember this is a young man, so this is a young man talking here. Sending directed energy to the victim's skull in order to make him hear voices, influence him with evil mantras, and scare the TI. Use a drone to spy on the targeted individual or send directed energy weapon. Forced ejaculation. Method 3. Using dark magic demons, jinns, using dream infiltration and haunting you. These methods are most powerful. They can use magic spells in order to try to injure or afflict some kind of harm to you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, or financially. There is pretty much a magic spell for everything, good or bad. And that's why I spent about half an hour this morning picking up Bitchcraft. And that's what it is. And actually, if you hashtag Bitchcraft, you're going to find that I did not make it up. Somebody's been using this terminology for a long time, and you can hashtag it and see all the other people that use it. There's pretty much a magic spell for everything good or bad, but of course, the kind they use is dark magic. The abominable science. When you're asleep, they can send a succubus or incubus and lustful demons in order to paralyze and rape you in your sleep, in order to not only harvest your energy but drain you of yours. This method can be used in combination with the dark energy attacks in order to make you vulnerable to these kinds of dream attacks. They could first use directed energy as well as demons to come and whisper mantras of lust into your ear 24/7, day and night, while also depriving you of your health and sending sexual virtual ads to your phone while you're YouTube or pretty much anywhere else on the internet, filling up your mind with lust. Then finally, when you go to sleep, they may send a specific frequency in order to get you into a more vulnerable state, and then they attack. This is how I was defeated and all my health was destroyed. In combination with all other forms of attack, I was completely taken by surprise all of a sudden and have become greatly injured. This is an 18-year-old. This is disgusting. I'll get more into this when I tell my story. They could also send demons to sabotage and haunt you, but they can only do this this part if your soul is more filled with darkness already. And in summary, they use dudes in order to degrade your physical and mental health with high-powered microwave frequencies. 2, they send gang stalkers in order to watch, track, and subliminally harass you. 3, they use V2K in order to whisper mantras of darkness into your ears in order to destroy you more and influence your thoughts and actions in order to get you to destroy yourself and fill your mind with dark thoughts of violent sex and get you to have certain dreams so you can have an orgasm in your sleep, thus losing your energy. 4, finally, black magic in order to deal the last bit of extra damage only if your energetic environment is suitable for greater darkness to penetrate within your life. Then there's surveillance, remote brain mapping. Now, while they do all of this, they can also record your actions and progress with 24-hour surveillance around the clock by gang stalkers, spy devices like cameras hidden inside and outside and around your home. It can also be your own devices if they've been hacked. And finally, something called remote brain mapping. Using their advanced wireless electromagnetic detectors, computers, and software, they can capture and map electrical impulses in the targeted individual's brain, and then with their advanced software, translate your brain patterns into a data which is then converted into a visual brain map report. I don't know, guys. This is sounding a little bit like human traffic lights to me. Doesn't it sound a little bit like human traffic lights? This is a form of monitoring and recording your neural brain activity as well as the electrical energetic activity of your entire being in order to map your current physical, mental, emotional, and even spiritual being, as well as to basically read your thoughts in order to predict your next moves. Okay, now this sounds a little bit like the Tavistock Institute while you're living in your home. Or how about that Ewan Cameron, that perverted doctor? Or how about that psychopath, Dr. James Giordano, prancing across the stage about how he loves to hack the brain? Really, what they're doing more than anything is reading your energy levels and structure, where they can actually tell a lot about you. Even some believe that this information can actually be sold to private buyers on the dark web for advertising purposes. I'm not sure if this is true, but I wouldn't doubt it for a second. Well, you know what? I want my royalties and commissions, don't you? Do you want your royalties and commissions? I do. These people are sick, he says. I actually found a report by a news article headline which reads, Washington State Fusion Center accidentally releases records on remote mind control. Do you think it was an accident? Maybe it was a whistleblower. And it contains pictures and documents which describe and show the effects of directed electromagnetic energy and what it is capable of. It describes as part of a request for records on Antifa and white supremacist groups, WSFC, inadvertently bundles in EMF effects on the human body .zip, also known as they effed up. So this is no longer a conspiracy theory. It's all real, and I will show you the pictures now. My roosters are like crowing in the background there. Okay, so here's one. Well, I think everybody has seen this one. That is the psychoelectric weapon effects. Here's the next one. Remote mind control, remote brain mapping. Okay. Next picture. I need somebody to help me with my mouse while I'm recording this. Spectrum human brain wave. Let me show you. Okay. Before I progress to the next chapter, you should know that energy weapons and the fact that it's used on people is literally not even a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. I've given you the links in the beginning of this document that proves that, and even more. Not even gang stalking or vigilante group harassment is a conspiracy theory. It's actually real. It's been used for a long time by the KKK, and many tyrannical regimes throughout history have used the local harassment gangs to neutralize dissent. Gang-stalking is simply another manifestation of this pattern. The psychological aspect of gang-stalking is identical to mobbing. Yes, and I've said that before, it's mobbing. And just for the record, the difference between stalking and mobbing is, in order for it to be considered mobbing, is that there is a person in a position of authority who has within them the ability to stop it, prevent it, and does not. They don't arrest the perpetrators, like the sheriff's department or the FBI. They don't arrest any of the people doing the mobbing. So mobbing is when a person in a position of authority has the ability to stop it, prevent it, end it, prosecute it, does not, and or participates in it, and or turns a blind eye. That's mobbing. Gang stalking is identical to mobbing. It has the same group dynamics. The mobbing phenomenon has been well documented and studied in other countries for years. However, it's only now beginning to receive attention in North America. And when I speak of mobbing, I'm not talking about flash mobbing where hundreds of strangers communicate via cell phone or email to meet in a public place and perform some stupid synchronized act as reported by CNN and other mainstream media. So, as we can see, we could just replace the crazy word gang stalking with the word mobbing. I agree. I like the word mobbing better than gang stalking. You will see, not only does it become more believable, but it has literally, as I've said above, been proven to exist. The only part that is hard for people to believe and accept is the energy weapons, and that the U.S. government and other governments are still doing this today. I don't know. I don't have a problem believing it, do you? For an excellent explanation of how groups of people will not only turn against an individual, but also participate in the repeated harassment and ultimate destruction of the individual to ensure their own survival, read the book Mobbing. When researching the mobbing phenomenon, the authors discovered that it took place out in the community. However, when this type of organized harassment occurs in the public, many of those who are aware of it choose to refer to it as the labels previously mentioned. And for now, you can think of mobbing as small-scale gang stalking, which takes place indoors. Mobbing, emotional abuse in the American workplace. Davenport, Schwartz, Elliott. I have a couple of books on mobbing. They're quite good. Until evil is named, it cannot be addressed. This book names mobbing a common and bloodless for the workplace mayhem and insidious and powerful subcultures thriving in the American workplace. Every day in all sorts of workplaces, mean-spirited mobs are forcing capable, hard-working employees to flee from the jobs they love. Mobs intentionally target and ultimately destroy innocent individuals. They intentionally target and ultimately destroy innocent individuals. Now, I'm not going to read all of this. I'm just going to show you what it is. Electromagnetic detection tools. I don't know how much of this works. And again, if you would like a copy of this 190-page manual. Email me at alternativehomesteading@gmail.com. Handbook, scalar weapons and targeted individuals, and much more. The Hidden Evil. I've been reading on my channel. You can listen to that. And I'm just going to scroll down, see how they find you and see you as an enemy threat. As you know, the government has agencies built entirely just to track and spy on the population, like the NSA and the FBI, for example. They also have automatic detection systems that can track keywords and search results. This kind of technology is obviously used in places like Google, YouTube, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, stuff like that. These agencies are filled with very dark and logical workers, no questions asking, corn syrup drinking slaves of the state. Because they're filled with darkness, they see light as their enemy. They're on the lookout for search results corresponding to an awakening individual, a truth seeker, a freedom fighter. They seek signs of awakening, especially those that are looking to form a group and make a real change in the world. They have a huge databases where all this information is nice and neatly compiled and organized in a list of possible terror threats, because they see an awakening individuals as a danger to the very fabric of society, because we are a danger to the structure of the matrix, because the system is built on darkness and hate and lies. So of course, love and truth has become their enemy. You may have been showing some signs of these terroristic and or extremist behaviors when they're actually referring to signs of an awake or ready to fight individual. So they then prepare their directed energy weapons and gang stalkers in order to break your spirit and drag you down into real madness. This tells you how evil your neighbors are. This is our holy battle between angels and devils. Okay, but why is this happening? What's the point of this program? What's the real truth? Well, you've been targeted because they see you as a threat to the system. Because in a world consumed by so much darkness, your light made you stick out of a crowd. You were like a candle of light within a dark cave. So they quickly spotted you. Oh yeah, they spotted me right here in the middle of nowhere. I was just shining my candle light, and all the criminals came out of the woodwork. All the cockroaches, all the white trash came out of the woodwork. All the predators. As you know, the government has agencies built entirely just to track and spy on the population, like the NSA, the FBI, for example. They also have automatic detection systems. Okay, well, wait a minute. My mouse just scrolled up. 1 second. We are the true system busters, okay? We are the system busters. And so you may have been showing some signs of these terroristic, psychotic, and delusional extremist behaviors, when in reality, what they're referring to are signs that you're awake. You're a ready to fight individual. So they prepare to drag down your spirit. Jesus Christ and many other holy, light-working men and women of the past have indeed been gang-stalked. Many. Not with directed energy weapons, but indeed with people and black magic. Listen to me now, for I will tell you the truth of all this. This is a spiritual war, a war on consciousness and souls of mankind. The gang-stalking agenda has many other purposes and benefits for the deep state, but the ultimate purpose and goal of all of it is to neutralize the pillars of light upon earth. And if anyone else tells you otherwise, they're asleep or a perp themselves. I will explain much more about this global spiritual shadow war in my last chapter. Well, I'm not going to get to the last chapter here because I'm up to an hour and I've got to get stuff done here. This war has been going on for thousands of years and is true main cause for nearly all of large global world events. if you don't understand the pillars of light, are men and women and children of the earth who vibrate high and spread the light through wisdom, knowledge, truth, inspiration, and love. The light workers and star seeds. This invisible global war is truly the source of the major world events that has ever occurred ever. And if you are not aware of this war on souls of mankind and the evil cabal elite, then you're missing out on more than 99% of Earth's true history. This is the truth, and let no one else tell you or otherwise. All other explanations are misunderstanding or a psyop. Do you want proof? All the proof you need is all around you. Just look at the world's fucked up and twisted state. Look at war, violence, thriving evil, and deception in the world. Hey, look at Congress. Look at all the people that were fired. You know, all those perverts that Tulsi Gabbard fired at the NSA. Oh my goodness gracious. But most of all, look within yourself. Your spirit guides, your angels, higher self, intuition. God, the universe, can give you all the proof and information you need. And if you need it even faster and with more assurance, well, I'm not going to recommend this. He's saying use weed and psychedelics to super expand your consciousness. That's okay. I'll pass on that. I'm beyond that stage of my life. If you want to get your hands on these substances, well, no, this is for educational purposes only. I'm not recommending any of this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to stop here on page 42. This is page 42. I'm going to stop here. Okay. So this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I'm reading a manual written by an 18-year-old who was 14 when he started, 18 when he stopped. So this is a very young man, and he did a great job here. 190 pages with information, URL links, and resources. A lot of research provided here. And then we're going to get to page 44. Page 44, that's where I'm going to start next. My story, what it's like to be gang stalked. Great information. Warning, this is disturbing. Let me show you, okay? Let me just show you here. This is where I'm going to start up next time. So anyway, please remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And I'm going to sign off for now. I hope everybody's doing well today.